Good evening, esteemed viewers and followers, wherever you might be getting our signals from. This is Fine TV Gambia, your only viewpoint. Of course, we are back again on the policy, debate, wherein we invited, these gentlemen here from SoSHA. And then, of course, that the aspiring vice presidents for the forthcoming SoSHA election, which is slated for the 7th of this month. That's on Thursday. But before we proceed, we would like to apologize for coming late. Actually, the time on the infograph was, we're going to start by 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. But at that time, the Secretary Generals were already in, and of course, the two aspiring candidates came in while, that first debate was going on. So the blame, if you're going to take blame, you have to blame, let's say, Fine TV, or else we blame NAWEC, because, early morning today, NAWEC was off, so that delayed our program, and therefore we could not start as expected. So we apologize for coming late, and know that the delay is caused by the irregularities of NAWEC and not any other thing. So to proceed, to introduce my guest there, we have Mr. John Jaliba Mbage, who is vying for the position of Vice Presidency under the ticket of, the solutionist, right? We have also Mr. Mohamed Lamin Sise, who is vying for the position of Vice President on the ticket of Team Panacea. So, Mohamed and John, it's a pleasure to have you on Fine TV Gambia. And then we look forward to have a fruitful discussion. So, I will start with John. John, really, we realize that you are vying for the position of Vice Presidency. Take us through your inspiration. What really inspired John to vie for this position?
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Mbaye. Good evening, esteemed viewers outside there. This is John Jaliba Mbake, the Vice Presidential candidate for the Solutionists in this year's SoSHA elections. What really inspired me to run for this position, those of you who are very, very cognizant of what has happened last year in the SoSHA political space will realize that I run as Vice Presidential candidate under the same political camp that I'm running as Vice Presidential candidate this year. I was not able to win, but then I was later appointed to serve as Deputy Education and Research Minister, which I took it upon myself to serve fellow SoSHAns. It is based on that same reason. That is why this year again, I am running for this position of Vice President, because I believe I have what it takes. I've got enough experience to serve in my capacity as Vice President once I'm elected into office on the 7th of March, this Thursday coming, to serve as Vice President of the 19th Executive Council of SoSHA. It is because of my readiness, my willingness, my commitment also, and my passion for the service of the students. And that is why I am back again running for this same position that I've contested for in the last SoSHA election. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And then moving to Mr. Mohamed Lamin Sise, take us through your inspiration. What really inspired you to vie for the position of Vice President?
Thank you so much. I must say it is a pleasure being here. Thank you for having us. Before I go there, I have to make some clarifications if this debate should go on. When I was driving here, I saw a message on WhatsApp groups that contains thousands of people. A message that was unfortunate. And of course, the gentleman here must have been the propagandist of this. When I came here today, I came here on time. The time that was communicated was 3 to 4. I came on time. I spent $200 to get fuel in my car to drive to this place. Something that he will pay to Pirang back, and the $200 will not be exhausted. I took that upon myself. I came here on the stipulated time. I met a program here. It wasn't my fault. The time communicated was 3 to 4. I later had to leave because the time communicated to me wasn't stick to, due to circumstances beyond everybody's control. I had to leave because I had other engagements. So driving here, I saw messages in WhatsApp groups saying that the reason why the debate wasn't able to hold at 3 was because I was not here on time, and that is because I'm not responsive or I don't respect time, which I don't just see as a political propaganda, but I see it as something that is very unfortunate coming from a student politician. Looking at this guy, because today I'll not even call him brother, looking at this guy, somebody that I hold in very high regard, and anybody that knows me in school and beyond knows that I'm somebody that doesn't just pay a blind eye or see away from telling somebody the truth. He's somebody that I hold in very high regard. I've never been to his house, but he has been to mine. I introduced him to my mother as my friend and a brother. Gave him water to drink, gave him everything as a brother. So today when we are opponents, when I was doing that, he was in the solutionist. But he is just a student and a brother to me. So today when we are opponents, I think anything that should happen between us should strictly be political and not to smear anything on the social media. WhatsApp handles contain thousands of people. And then telling them that I didn't show up at a debate that I initiated myself. I think this is very important for you to tell him and to the audience or to his team that this debate was in fact initiated by me. Maybe they don't know. I was the individual that initiated this debate. I called far back to find an online TV anywhere for me and him. For us to have this civil. I contacted you. We contacted Blinky for her to give us this platform. So I cannot initiate something and at the end of the day run away. So it is very unfortunate. And then, I think he has to apologize for telling people outside that, I didn't come on time. I think that is very wrong. He has to apologize and tell his people that what they said in the WhatsApp pages is false.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just to make this clear, that the arrival of John came here before we start. The SG's program, and while he came, and also the SG program was going on. So the issue of the delay was not caused by candidates coming late or other thing. It was caused by our schedule of programs today, because NAWEC went off, so we could have we had 3 programs here today. So we were holding the other program. So while they all came, things were like that. So I think we have to understand that. So everybody has to understand that was the reason why we shifted the debate to 8 p.m.
I think that is clear now. Moving on to your question, what inspired me? Of course, my name is Mohamed Lamin Sise, the vice presidential candidate of Team Panacea. And my inspiration was derived from who I am, a rational individual that has been there for students since my first day in the University of the Gambia. I've dedicated my stay in the University of the Gambia to student service, both in and outside council work. I'm an individual that thinks that being the vice president of SoSHA can add a lot to my stay in the university and the stay of my fellow colleagues. I have a lot in store, and my administrative capabilities will help me fulfill those promises once I make them and once SoSHA students vote me into office. And as the debate goes on or the conversation goes on, we will get to delve into all these things in detail. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohamed Lamin Sise. Now moving on to John. John, really, we're moving on. There is no time. We're running against time. So, John, what do you hope to accomplish if elected into office?
Yes, thank you very much for that question. But I think also before I move forward, I seek to ask you to at least grant me some minutes to also at least say a few words with regard to the allegation he just made here towards my humble self. I believe one of the qualities that a leader should possess is being responsible. And that is what I have manifested here. I came here by 2 p.m. and I'm here now. It is 9 p.m. onwards. I have been here since 2 p.m. The stipulated time, going by what is written on the flyer, is that we are supposed to be here from 3 to 5 p.m. Whether that is a typographical error, I don't know. But also, it should be also the responsibility of people who seek to serve others or leaders to also be responsible enough in taking steps in addressing issues if they really want to serve. You cannot want to serve students. You cannot claim to be a leader when a program that's supposed to start by 3 p.m., you came here 3:05. He came here 3:05. That is one. Now we rearrange the time. We push the time from 3 p.m. already because you said we met the Secretary General candidates. We push the time to 8 p.m. What time do we start our interview? We are starting our policy debate by 9:05. So if truly he is not someone who delayed, we will not be here by this time. By this time should meet me on my way home. But going back to your question, that what
do you hope to accomplish if elected into office?
I hope to accomplish many things. Why I say this is because I have a complete team. I'm running under a team with a presidential candidate, with an education research minister candidate, which you cannot see in the opposite team. That is one thing. What I believe to achieve once I am enrolled, once I'm given this position of vice president, are numerous. One on my agenda, as Deputy Education and Research Minister of the 18th Executive Council of SoSHA, I wish to continue what we call the pre and post exams evaluation. Mr. Mbai, you are a student of the University of the Gambia. You are studying journalism. Now that we have moved to Faraba, you will realize that the problems that we used to face, especially in a campus like Brikama, are not the same problems we are facing in Faraba. In Brikama, we used to face problems like challenges when it comes to class size, carrying chairs from one place to the other. That is not what we are facing in Faraba. We have the state-of-an-art edifice building that is already for us at Faraba. What is the problem that we are facing? In my capacity as Deputy Education and Research Minister, I was able to work with the Education and Research Minister, and so we have what we call pre- and post-exams evaluation. The pre-exams evaluation means students who are affected by the timetable are going to lodge. We share a form. Students who are affected by the timetable will lodge their complaint through this form, and then later we take this to the authorities who are responsible. And by doing this, we were able to address this problem. Students who have their two courses colliding were able to do their exams, or even that timetable was revisited. And also now the post-exams evaluation, what we are able to do, we realized that there are emergencies and that students cannot run away from emergencies, not even students, but human beings. There are students who are not able to do exams at the stipulated date and time that exams were supposed to happen for certain courses. And now this post-exam evaluation was a mechanism through which these students can lodge their reasons why they were not able to do these exams on time. And also when they write to us formally, we were able to lodge this same complaint to the head of department, to the faculty officers, and almost 60% of the students who came through us for pre and post exam evaluation, their problem has been solved. But Mr. Mbai, I understand very well that transformation is a gradual process. I understand that transformation is a gradual process. Because of this, problems cannot be solved just at once, But these are things that we should continue engaging those in authorities so that they could be solved. So, grade issue is a major problem in Faraba campus right now. There are class sizes which that they are at 45, and there are students still now who should do these courses. The extension of these class sizes is what I intend to work on, and also addressing this grade issue, and not only stopping there. Mr. Mbai, we have a university where students who are studying political science, development studies, history, geography, cannot tell you what they can become when they are done with their studies. Many of the students, because they are not well oriented. What do I intend to do? I've seen a problem, and I'm here to provide a solution to that problem. I intend to work with the University of the Gambia Career Guidance and Wellness Center, where I have served as an intern for over 7 months. I intend to work with them to ensure that we are going to have career seminars for students. At the end of these career seminars, a student majoring in development studies will know what are the different career paths that are available for me. I do not. Yes, Mr. Mbai, I have policies that I believe will address the problems that the students in SoSHA are facing. I have been in this association for a period of now going to 4 years. I've attended all the SoSHA events that have taken place, the major events, Mr. Mbai. And I've interacted with students in my capacity as a committee member in the Education and Research Ministry of the 17th Executive Council of SoSHA. I've engaged with students also in my capacity as Deputy Education and Research Minister in the 18th Executive Council of SoSHA. This has given me the understanding and the required knowledge to know what these students are facing and also to provide solutions to the problems that they're facing. That is why my policies are not just mere policies, but these are policies that are addressing the challenges that students of SoSHA are facing. And once I'm elected into office, I believe these are policies that are going to address their problems, and their problems also are going to be solved. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, John. So, Mohammed, do you have any objection to what John said regarding the pre and of course post evaluation that he has contributed immensely as the Deputy Education and Research Minister of the 18th Executive Council, right? Yes.
Yeah. So we both served in the same council. That's an achievement he accomplished, which is a very good thing. Because at the end of the day, the credit goes back to the council and to him as an individual for taking his time and solving problems of students. A very good one. I do not counter people's achievements. As a student politician, that is not what you do. So, talking about some of his policies, when you understand SoSHA and students' politics at large, or let's say students, you will get to understand that more or less we all understand these problems. We all know these problems because myself and him, we are all in the same school. We came to the UTG together. We did so many courses together. We have all been in UTG for long now. When it comes to identifying the problems, we might all identify the same problems. That is very obvious because we are all in SoSHA. Talking about the Career Guidance and Wellness Center, myself too, when I go to students, that is what I tell them, that I'm going to ensure I bring career guidance opportunities to their doorstep, because I know how important it is for students to be availed the opportunity to understand their different career paths. So at the end of the day, when you look at students' politics, it is not the same as national politics, where people identify more or less different problems majorly. We basically sometimes identify the same problems because we are all in the same school. He found the need to bring career guidance opportunities to SoSHA students. Likewise myself. And we can go on, and I will tell you, if we name 4 of our policies each, maybe 3 will be the same. That is very normal because we are all in the same school. Absolutely. That is what is rational. You understand? So, as students, when individuals come to you that have the same policies because they have all identified the same problems, how do you gauge who to vote for? That is the time you go in for experience and maybe people's exposure, or who you trust as an individual. Myself, I've served in the information committee of the 17th Executive Council. Like I was saying, when students identify the same policies regarding people that are all vying for the same position, they now go in for the exposure and experience of the individual, and of course trust, because trust is the bedrock at the end of the day to use to gauge any politician. So I was serving in the 17th Executive Council Information Ministry. I was the main anchor when it comes to the TV program, and also I was serving as the host on the radio program, and we registered unprecedented achievements. Coming now, I'm the Deputy Information and Communications Minister of SoSHA, and then the only official MOUs in SoSHA right now are in my ministry. And one of them, let me say 2 of them, were all championed by myself and my boss. That is the MOU with Star TV and the MOU with another online TV. Even though the online TV MOU, at the end of the day, it hasn't materialized, but at least it's an official MOU. So when you look at these 2 MOUs, it is championed by myself and my boss, and they are the only official partnerships in SoSHA. SoSHA does not have any other official partner that we did not bring, myself and my boss. So when you look at this whole thing, it now comes down to the SoSHA students to decide, because here are 2 individuals, both bringing more or less the same policies, and then they are both saying that they are going to ensure they put pressure on the relevant authorities. Because if you look at this, as students or as council members, we do not have much power. Our power lies around dialogue to ensure authorities do what they should do at the end of the day. So students are now left with the natural or the rational choice to decide who they will vote for as their vice presidential candidate. Because if you look at myself, I do not lack the experience when it comes to serving SoSHA. I have been there, I am there right now, and I want to continue being there. When it comes to exposure, I think I have the exposure, both in the UTG and beyond. So it is now left to the SoSHA students to decide, because here are 2 individuals that are bringing in more or less the same policies. So it is now left to their rationality to decide who they want as their vice president. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Sise. Now moving back to John. John, your partner or your opponent said, more or less you have the same, policies. So from his point of view, what he said, do you have anything to object before we move to the other question?
Yes, I completely have a lot of things to object with regard to what he said. You asked me what are my policies. Because of time, I mentioned only two. I have 7 to 8 policies for social students, which I believe, not if, but when I'm elected into office on the 7th of March, which is this Thursday, I am going to start the process of executing or ensuring that these policies will be put into fulfillment. With regard to what he just said here, I think it is important, fellow citizens who are listening, that a leader or an individual who seeks to serve should be transparent and also should be honest to students. You cannot tell social students that you have MOU with 2 TVs. You tell us official MOU with 2 TVs. That is Star TV and the other TV. Why can't you tell us the name of that other TV? One. When last, fellow citizens who are watching this program, when last did you see the 18th Executive Council of SoSHA, our Information and Communications Ministry, hosting a program at Star FM or even Star TV? These are questions I am putting out here for you to ask yourselves. Because when you ask yourself this question, it is going to leave you with the answer that it is only John Jalibambake that deserves your vote on the 7th of March to serve as your vice president. Because I have demonstrated transparency here. I have demonstrated honesty here to explain to you what I have been able to achieve in my capacity as Deputy Education and Research Minister. We have ensured that students who come to our division are properly guided, especially during our induction programs and also during citation and referencing seminars. Several times ago, what used to happen is that we wait until when exams is coming and the Education and Research Ministry will start organizing a seminar on citation and referencing. As you know, a university student cannot be there without having knowledge on citation and referencing. How will you be able to do your assignment? What I was able to do in collaboration with my boss, Lamin Marina, who is the Education and Research Minister, is to ensure that once students are inducted into the Division of Humanities and Social Sciences, we organize citation and referencing seminars for them. We've even organized more than one time a citation and referencing seminar. The last semester, we organized a citation and referencing seminar where we invited already our own opposed candidate for the position of Education and Research Minister, Nicholas Mendy, who has been in the teaching fraternity for over 5 years. We have invited also a graduate assistant, Andrew Mendy, who studied political science, who was one time social president, to come and guide students through citation and referencing. This was not done just because exams is next 1 or 2 weeks. But we did this because we realized that once you start your studies, especially as a new student, you're going to start facing assignments. Not only do I stop in doing that, but as I speak to you right now, an individual like of myself is tasked with the responsibility in the same council that is serving. He's here. He can attest to the fact that I am given the responsibility to spearhead a mentorship program already that we started for 25 students, where we are mentoring these students on public speaking, on ethical leadership, among other thematic areas. Because we believe that social science students are students that should be oriented on these areas, because these are the people that are later going to go to the society and serve as leaders. If an entire executive can trust me with that responsibility to serve as the coordinator of that particular mentorship program, then it tells you that I am the only one who deserves to serve as your vice president once we do the elections on Thursday.
Thank you, John. Mohammed, do you have any objection towards what he just stated?
I will not call it an objection, but I was looking at him funnily. I don't even know where to even start. I don't know whether he has forgotten that he's talking to SoSHA students, and myself too. I have came to the university with him. When he's saying that they only wait for when exams are here and organize citation and referencing seminars, that is very funny. SoSHA, since we came, we came in 2021 when there was this corona thing, and our first semester was online. We were not fortunate enough. But when we started coming on campus, every semester, right after the orientation and induction ceremony, I think right after 1 week, Sanjay organizes citation and referencing seminars. Sanjay organizes that. And then the council too organizes one. So if he says that they only wait for exams, I think he should withdraw that and apologize to the previous councils that have worked very hard to organize these ceremonies for people. That is misleading to say that they only wait for exams. You cannot say that. You cannot say that. And the other thing is that, he should understand that he had a responsibility. And as an individual that understands that, I don't go there. He is the Deputy Education and Research Minister. Anything that falls under education and research, he should do. It's his responsibility. So saying that, I was tasked to be the head of the mentorship, that mentorship, if you look at it, it entirely, or let me say 3/4 falls under the Education and Research Ministry. So it is very normal if he handles that. I think that is very normal. And then if he is given that opportunity in a council that I served in, and I didn't oppose to that, I think that is very good. He should not use that as a yardstick to say that, I was chosen as the head of mentorship, so that means I am the best. That was his job. He was the Education and Research Minister, Deputy Education and Research Minister. When it comes to my own job, I am Deputy Information and Communications Minister. You understand? Anything that falls under our ministry, I will do. You understand? I wasn't calling him to go and host radio programs. I wasn't calling him when I was serving in the committee to go and host TV programs. I wasn't calling on him when I was writing dispatches to inform SoSHA students. I wasn't calling on him when we went for tours and I was serving as MCs. Because that was what I should do. It fell under my ministry. You understand? So being the head of the mentorship, that entirely falls under your ministry, I think that should not be something that, he should use to say that is what makes him the best for this. He was given that position in a council where I was serving. I never opposed to the fact that he should be given the position. So coming back to the orientation ceremony thing, I think he should withdraw. And also I have to clarify. When you say that I have not been transparent, that is very funny. I have been transparent, of course. I told you the only 2 official MOUs in SoSHA right now have been signed by my ministry. I never wanted to name a wrong TV. That is why I didn't say the other one. It is Stockport Media. It's Stockport Media. We have an official MOU with Star TV and Stockport Media. You understand? These MOUs are entirely signed by us. When he is serving in a council, in a ministry, he never brought any official MOU to SoSHA. You understand? So when you look at the vice presidency of SoSHA, you will understand that more or less it is, in its major part, administrative. You understand? Because when you look at these associations, we are not privileged enough to, have that ample time to do everything that we yearn to do. Because in SoSHA, we have customary activities that once in office, those are the things that you have to work towards. Things like career guidance opportunities. These are, normal visits that you will just pay to the career guidance and wellness center and ensure they respond to you. And then, have your students go through this mentorship or seminar. These are just 1 week, 2 weeks issues. But let us talk about the real administrative work here. And that is, And that is looking for funds. For example, the SoSHA week. Once you are elected into office, right after 2 or 3 weeks, you have to start working on the SoSHA week. The secretariat will have to prepare the proposal. You will have to prepare courtesy call letters. And then as the vice president, you are responsible for all the internal affairs. And then you are directly spearheading this SoSHA week. You have to be an individual that is exposed, an individual that knows the right doors to knock, an individual that can bring funds to SoSHA. That is something that I possess. I am exposed to issues. I am exposed in this country and beyond. I know the right doors to knock. As the vice president, these are the things that, we should majorly focus on, the administrative capabilities of an individual. When you look at these policies, these are things that you can accomplish in 1 or 2 weeks. You have to just go to these relevant offices and talk to them to come to your school and take your students through seminars. We are talking about administrative work here. The exposure you need to have as the vice president to bring funds to SoSHA. This SoSHA week attracts close to $100,000 plus to stage a week. Not just the SoSHA week. When it comes to the nationwide tour that we collaborate with the Science Students Association, it equally needs a vice president and a president that are exposed. Last year, if it wasn't because of the exposure of certain individuals in our council, we would have been saying a different thing here. But working as a council member, you will get to understand how relevant it is to have individuals in council that are exposed and can bring funds to the association.
Thank you, Cisse. I mean, but now, just to cut things short, take us through, your experience and background before we come to John.
I think I just did that. My experience when in SoSHA. I mean, I have dedicated my life when I came into the university to student leadership. I first served as a committee member in the Information and Communications Ministry, and I was rewarded again to serve as the Deputy Minister of the Information and Communications Ministry. My work is all over SoSHA. That is something I need not to even repeat. My work is all over SoSHA. The respectable reputation that I have gained myself in SoSHA is due to my dedication and work towards students. Everyone in SoSHA that knows me will tell you everything about me, but will tell you that he is also committed to student service. Not just students, even administrators. Even some of my lecturers, when I enter their class, when they said, who is going to be the class rep? When I raise my hand, the lecturer will tell me, no, you will not come to class. You are a student leader. That shows you how much time I give to student leadership. So my exposure and experience is something that every single SoSHA student knows. Even if you are not going to vote for me, but there's something that you cannot take away from me. And that is my experience and what I have done for our school. Something that is not going to even be taken away, even if I am not voted into office. He will choose to say, I will get voted into office. I will use if. Not that I am not confident, but I respect and believe in the rational choice of SoSHA students. And I believe that they are going to make the right choice. I don't make the mistake. Anything that they do, any decision that they arrive at is the best decision. Because power belongs to the people. Whatever decision that people make is their choice, and it has to be respected. So that is it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cisse. And now moving to John. John, talk us through your experience and background.
Mr. Mbai, thank you very much for that question. But I think it's important also. Before I tell you my wealth of experience and background, it's also important that I also set light on some of the things he just mentioned here. The reason why I said transparency and honesty is important is because I understand what he's saying. As Deputy Education and Research Minister, it is my responsibility to coordinate a mentorship program. I am telling SoSHA students that I have succeeded in fulfilling that which is required of me as a Deputy Education and Research Minister. He has failed to do that which is required of him as a Deputy Information and Communication Minister, to tell us why is that since they start or signed an official MOU with Talk Hot Media, why is it that we never had any program that this Talk Hot Media is talking about? One, I talk about transparency and honesty in the aspect of why is it that we have stopped having program with Star TV. Why do we stop having that? He's saying my ministry failed to ensure that we are going to have an official partnership with another institution outside. We wanted, I'll tell this to SoSHA students right now who are listening to me, that we wanted to have a partnership with this fine TV that we are sitting right now at. Because we realize that Education Research Ministry is very, very important. And even here, your CEO here can attest to the fact that my boss, Lamin Marina, and myself, we want to have a partnership, an official one, with Fine TV, where we are going to be allocated time just as it is allocated to the School of Education, to come and be talking about issues that are surrounding education. You understand? But the Information and Communications Minister said, no, that is not the responsibility of the Education and Research Ministry. He debunked that. Education and Research Ministry, as important as it is, myself and my boss, Ramin Marena, who is the Education and Research Minister, whom I am deputizing, we have never been invited to any program that these people are hosting at Star TV. Education and Research Minister, the minister and the deputy, as important as these two things are, especially when it comes to those eras where students newly come into the school.
What
and also
because of that?
Because we are not in the same political camp. The fear is because we are doing well with the policies that we brought. So if you invite us to come and speak to students or to speak to these programs, then we are going to have that space where we will be able to, our information or students will be able to know that which we are doing at a larger space. But you are inviting individuals during when students or new intakes come to school. Individuals that you should be inviting to speak to these new intakes are the Education and Research Minister, because we are the ones who are dealing directly with these students. Before I tell you my wealth of experience, lastly, with the issue of Esanjai. Who is Esanjai? Esanjai was a lecturer before he left for the US to do his PhD. He was not an executive member. He saw the need of organizing a citation and referencing seminar. If council was frequently, or the previous council, if they were frequently organizing citation and referencing seminar, Esanjai would not have been organizing those citation and referencing seminar. Now to tell you my wealth of experience. When you asked my opponent here, he only told you that he was Deputy Information and Communication Minister. He is currently Deputy Information and Communication Minister in the 18th Executive Council of SoSHA. He has served as a committee member in the 17th Executive Council of SoSHA in the Information and Communication Ministry. Aside from that, he never tell you any wealth of experience that he has gathered. But now I want to take you through. Mr. Mbai, as I speak to you right now, I currently serve as the chairperson of Pirang Santoto Youth Development Association. Pirang have 13 major kabilos. 13 major kabilos. It is the biggest village in Kombois. I'm on records. It is the biggest village in Kombois. With these 13 major kabilos, I am serving as the chairperson of Pirang Santoto Development Association. In Pirang Santoto, which is one of the biggest kabilos in Pirang, there are more than 100 compounds, 100 compounds in Pirang Santoto. I've served as chairperson. I currently serve as chairperson of that development association, and I've co-founded that same association. And not only am I serving as chairperson, now let me tell you what I've done in my capacity as chairperson. Pirang Santoto is one of the most underdeveloped areas in Pirang. One of the most underdeveloped areas. When I talk about underdeveloped, I'm talking about in the aspect of especially accessing water. When we are talking about connection, in my partnership with institutions outside, with individuals outside, I'm also looking for mechanisms in which we will be able to generate money to be able to provide waters for people. We have been able to provide over 7 taps. Over 7 taps. And this is not from my pocket. But let me tell you one thing. Mr. Mbai, leadership, and as a leader, you need to be innovative. I have realized with the team that I have in Pirang Santoto, we have realized that there is a need for us to tap in from the individuals who are from that same community, who are now abroad, to give back to the community. We do not only stop in doing that, but we realize that also when you give someone everything free, the person tend to misuse it or tend to be careless. What we also do is to ensure that we negotiate with the elders of this Kabilo to ensure that every compound is going to give an amount of money, which we are going to add with that which we receive from outside support to be able to provide and cater for people so that they can have water, and also in collaboration with the Pirang VDC. In my capacity as chairperson, I'm able to do this. As I speak to you right now, I am serving as the president of Brikama Methodist Academy Ex-Students Association. In that same school, I have served as head boy of that same school. When it comes to the university, because of time, now let me come to the university. Because of time, I have served in the Education and Research Ministry of the 17th Executive Council of SoSHA. I currently now serve as the Deputy Education and Research Minister in the 18th Executive Council of SoSHA. To serve as a committee member in the Education and Research Ministry, and to serve as the Deputy Education and Research Minister in the 18th Executive Council of SoSHA, you need to be available. When I talk about being available, you need to be available in the aspect of you giving out your time to be able to help students, using your own resources to ensure you help students. This is what I have manifested. in the entire executive, in the entire council. I'm not talking about 18 executive council, but I'm talking about when it comes to student leadership. If there is any ministry that is directly linked to students, it is the Education and Research Ministry. My opponent's only claim to fame is to be sharing dispatches in pages. Let us face the reality, Mr. Mbai. I've engaged with students. I understand the problems that they are facing. And when it comes to administration, I've ensured in my capacity as Deputy Education and Research Minister, in collaboration with my boss, Lamin Maren, who is the Education and Research Minister, things will be done in the right way. When you go to SoSHA, there is no unit, whether it is French, whether it is political science. When you go to French unit, you come to English language, you come to Christian religious studies. There is no unit in which you will not see a lecturer whom you know that have a personal relationship with John. My personal relationship with these people, it is because of the position which I hold. And also how I've been engaging with these people in ensuring that student matters or the problem that the students are challenging to us are being solved.
Thank you, John. Just out of time, running out of time. So, esteemed viewers, just to remind you once again, this is Fine TV Gambia, your only viewpoint, and of course, it is a policy debate for the vice presidential candidates for the forthcoming SoSHA election, which is slated for the 7th of this month, that is Thursday. So, Mr. CCA, I mean, Mr. Mbake said, your ministry, that is the communication ministry, has never, invited them as the education and the ministry, knowing how important their ministry is to your TV programs. What do you have to say about that?
Well, as an individual and as a young politician, oftentimes when I appear before TV, I don't want to be going back and forth because that is not the main reason why I'm here. But I think it is equally important to shed light on some of these things. First, I will start with the orientation ceremony, or let's say the induction. Himself, if he can remember, when he came into the university newly, that now I can remember, we were taken through an induction ceremony by now, who is our president of SoSHA, Mr. Suleiman Lecturer Dabo. He took us through the referencing and citation, council work, right? Also, induction ceremonies we organize every semester. Council work. Last semester, we organized induction ceremony where he was, seated as the Deputy Education Research Minister, where I was the main host of the program. Council. So, when he sits before TV and tells SoSHA students that the previous councils have not been doing their work, because that is what it means. He said, the previous councils have not been taking students through referencing and citation. It is very ridiculous. You cannot make such statements before TV, knowing that it is false. You understand? So coming down to him, not him and his boss, Mr. Marin, are not being invited on TV. I will now want to ask him whether it has been a norm in SoSHA for education research ministers to be invited by people. Before he came in, before his boss came in, before his boss was elected, the education research minister was from SoSHA, was from Team Panacea. Maybe he will want to remind the viewers whether that guy and his deputy were invited on TV because they were Team Panacea. Before that too, it was Team Panacea. Maybe he'll want to remind the viewership whether they were invited on TV. So, for an individual, sometimes when you make statements, you have to be really careful. You cannot sit before TV and start accusing people of not inviting you on SoSHA's program because it's not ours, because you are solutionist. Before I started, I told you, he came to my house when he was solutionist. I knew he was solutionist. I took him to my house. I introduced him as my brother, my friend. He was solutionist. At my own house, my mother was there. I introduced him to my mother. When I did not see him as a solutionist back then, why will I see him as a solutionist in council work? So he has to tell the viewership whether it has been something that SoSHA councils have been doing previously to invite education research ministers once new students come into the UTG.
Thank you.
You understand? I think that is something he has to clarify. And also, he made mention of the only thing, Yeah, that is how he said it. How he said it. He said my only rise to fame or whatsoever popularity was because I was only CR mayor dispatches. I don't wish to go back and forth with him with regard to that, because I'm an individual that does not do that. I will leave that to the viewership to decide whether the only thing I was doing in SoSHA was to CR dispatches. I think I'm beyond that to argue about that. Maybe he's just trying to entice a section of people by telling me that. But I'm an individual that do not respond to things like that before TV, saying that my only rise to popularity was sharing mayor dispatches. I will leave that to SoSHA students to weigh whether that is true or not. So you go ahead with your question.
Yes, Mohammed, how are you prepared for this, particular tax?
Yeah, very prepared. It is like a continuation for myself, because since I came into the University of the Gambia, my only aim was to have my education and not to be a classroom student. Like I will always tell my friends, I'm not a classroom student. Not to be a classroom student. And that is to ensure I equip myself, I build my own capacity, and help my fellow students to have a conducive learning environment in SoSHA. That is by dedicating my time to student service, whether in council or beyond. So like I was saying, I received messages from individuals, from the Solutionist camp, and of course my camp too, Team Panacea. Messages of appreciation, not because they are going to vote me, but these are individuals that were just telling me that, you will not remember, but you have once helped me a lot in settling down into the University of the Gambia. I'm just saying this to just make people understand that leadership is a process. It's a process, okay? And then this process is something that I've begun since I came into the University of the Gambia. I'm glad that he said, he has accomplished something as an individual that is heading a village development committee, if I could hear him right. The reason why I'm trying to stick to UTG is that as a young politician, I understand that these electorates are SoSHA students, and what they want to hear majorly is the things that you have been doing in SoSHA and SoSHA. If you look at politics around the UTG, you have seen individuals that lost elections in UTG. If it is because of their outside engagements, they will not go in for elections. Because if they bring forward their track record, both nationally and internationally, they will not even go for the elections. Myself, I've done a lot outside UTG. Outside UTG, I've done a lot for myself. But they are not very, very important when it comes to SoSHA students. That's why I'm trying to stick to reminding SoSHA students of the things that I have been doing for them, of the things that I am doing right now, to feed them information since I came into the University of the Gambia. So if he said that my only rise to popularity is sharing these parties, I think that alone is, is insulting to the ministry that I serve in and the council, because we are the mouthpiece of the council. When the council wants to do something, they tell me to do it. They tell my boss to write or inform students. So if that is a mayor thing, I think, it is unfortunate that we have him as a council member. And these are things, I'm just trying to tell people that these are things that individuals or young politicians should not utter. They cannot gain anybody any political point. You just have to stick to your natural self. Stick to SoSHA students. Stick to the policies that you have. But to be uttering things like this or trying to, I speak English. I speak English fluently. I can use words to start going at him and all that. But I'm not going to do that, because I understand that this platform is a platform for me to come and talk to SoSHA students, to tell them what I have and what I want to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. CJ. Interesting. So, John, we just going fast because time is on our side. So, how do you prepare for this particular post as an aspiring vice president candidate for the forthcoming SoSHA election?
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. But I understand we do not have time by our side. But I also believe it is important that when you want to serve students, you do not only tell them the things that you are doing today and yesterday, but you also tell them the things that you have been doing before. To show to them that, yes, as I was saying, I believe it is important also to inform the students that I seek to serve, or I seek to continue serving, of the things that I've been doing in the past. To tell them that I've been engaging with people or young people of this country, not only at the university level, but also even at grassroots level, to show to them that if I can do it there, I'm also seeking their trust to give me their votes on Thursday to serve them in the capacity of vice president. And now to your question of why I believe, or how prepared am I for this position. Mr. Bai, when you look at all the policies I've stated here, you're going to realize that all these policies are not policies that I just get up and bring, but I've engaged those that I need to engage, the required authorities that I need to engage, the required people that I need to engage, whom you know that they are going to help me in the execution of these policies. You understand? That alone tells you how prepared I am as a candidate to contest in this year's SoSHA elections. Because I do not see any reason why I'm just going to have a policy, which may be a very beautiful policy, but I intend to collaborate with an institution outside or with a group of people outside in ensuring that that policy will be fulfilled. But I do not communicate these institutions. I do not communicate these individuals. I just place the policies. Now I am elected into office. I want to start running to these institutions. That is the time institutions will start telling you that our hands are tied. We have a lot with us right now. But what I've done is to ensure that I involve authorities, I involve associations, I involve institutions that has to do with all the policies that I have with me. Because of time, I cannot list all these policies. Absolutely. But I encourage students to be at the convention on Wednesday, where I am going to give you these policies and the institutions and the people or the authorities that I intend to collaborate with, or whom you know that I've already engaged with them in ensuring that these policies will be executed once I'm elected as your vice president.
Yes, John, in a minute, can you speak on any one specific proposal or initiative you plan to introduce when, if elected into office?
Mr. Mbaye, Section 12, subsection 5 of the SoSHA Constitution, it gives the vice president the mandate to serve as chairperson of all task forces that are formed by the association, especially when it comes to events like our SoSHA Week. I told you earlier, leaders need to be innovative. The past executive, I'm not an individual who will stand here and say the past executive has not done anything. But I believe that they have done a lot. But also there is still room for improvement. What I intend to do, especially when it comes to the SoSHA Week, I'll tell you, Mr. Mbaye, is to ensure that we are going to rebrand our SoSHA Week. I've realized that we as social science students, especially during our SoSHA Week, events that we have, especially number one, our community outreach, should be a society-based approach. I'm telling you, we cannot go to communities and tell the community people that this and this is what brought us here. We talk to them and we are done, we take pictures, we eat, and we come back home. I very well understand, I've attended all the community outreaches or all the SoSHA weeks since I came to the university, since Andrew Mendes' time, which you know that the community outreach took place at Carton. But what I'm trying to show to you is that our society-based approach will be in collaboration with our Education and Research Minister and the Information and Communications Minister to ensure that everything or every fact-finding that we are embarking on during this community outreach will be documented. We have realized that it is not all the students in SoSHA who are privileged enough to be able to attend the community outreach. I'm talking about one event during the SoSHA week. The community outreach, because not every student will be able to attend it, because we do not have a lot of buses that will take students to transport students to these places. But when we document every activity, when we document all the research that we have done or we embark on during our community outreach, I believe that is going to go a long way in helping students who are not able to attend it due to one or two reasons to be able to know what we were able to embark on, and that is going to help them. Partnership, lastly, Mr. Mbai, when we talk about partnership as student leaders, I believe it should not only be in the aspect of finance. In as much as finance is important, the finance minister also has a responsibility to ensure that he bring funds to the council. Likewise, vice president. But what I intend to do in the aspect of partnership is to partner with like-minded institutions in this country that are doing things or that have issues that are related to what we are studying as social science students. I believe that partnering with institutions like Center for Research and Policy Development is going to help us, that this institution will serve as a body that is going to build the capacity of students before we embark on our research during our community outreach and even also our research during nationwide tour. There are a lot of partnerships that I intend to build with institutions because I believe these institutions will gain something from us and we are also going to gain something from them. We can serve as a mediator between these institutions and the community.
Thanks, John. There is no time. So, to Mohamed, can you speak on a specific policy that Mohamed intends to fulfill if elected into office?
Yeah, but before I go there, he was saying that they former council or whatsoever. I think he should be using we. Only if he's not talking about the current council, because if he talks about this SoSHA week, when you look at this SoSHA week, sometimes it is important that we clarify some of these things to individuals that do not understand how these things work. We can sit here and talk about so many policies, but in reality, when you are in council, sometimes it comes different, it hits different, due to very many circumstances surrounding our sub-association. When you look at council work, as individuals right now, we are all contesting for our various offices, but when we come to council, it is a teamwork. Even in the preparation for this SoSHA week, we sit as a council, we discuss, we all bring in our suggestions about some of the events that we want in this SoSHA week. He was there in the council. He never brought forward things like this, but I will not delve into that because I understand that he's a politician. He wants votes, but he was in a council that organized a SoSHA week where he could have easily brought forward some of these things. You understand? So as a vice president, when you look at council work, majorly, like I said before, I will repeat it again, majorly, it centers around administration, the things that you can bring, how to sustain the sub-association. Myself, when you look at me, I have only four that I want to strengthen, and then I will focus my time on the administrative work of the vice president. I want to bring career guidance opportunities to SoSHA students, of course, making the best use of the career guidance and wellness center that is purposely created for UTG students. I want to revitalize the orientation and induction ceremonies because as the vice president, you are entirely, you are directly in charge of these two events. How will I go about this? We have an educational research minister in the council when you are voted in. This educational research minister is responsible for these orientation and induction ceremonies. When you look at their ministry, but the VP is in charge as the head. We are going to make best use of our education ministers, of course. But if you understand, I'm talking about reality here. I'm not talking about what should happen, I'm talking about reality. When you look at our educational research ministries, sometimes even the minister will be privileged to understand maybe just a course brochure. Maybe when you are a political science today, you will understand the political science course brochure. So what if both the minister and the deputy and his ministry members do not understand development studies course brochure, geography course brochure? Sometimes this happens. Sometimes we do not even explain the geography course brochure because we don't have an individual amongst us that understand this course brochure. So as a vice president, when I come into office, I am going to ensure we bring in people that understand all these course brochures, even if it is going to take us to bring in 2 or more individuals, at least to explain to each and every attendee of these induction ceremonies fairly, because you cannot just come to the induction ceremonies and explain the political science course brochure or the development course brochure and stop there. We have other students in the unit too. So also, I intend to strengthen the payment of these student dues. it might be seen as a very little, but it's very important. SoSHA students, if you look at us, we are not paying these student dues. Okay? I think it is not because they don't want to pay, because it's $50. I know SoSHA students will have $50 to contribute towards their stay into the University of the Gambia. But I believe that they are not informed. They are not sensitized. They don't understand their responsibilities towards the council. So I'm going to ensure we engage these students, we sensitize them, and make them understand that they need to pay. They need to pay their student dues, so they can raise, so we can raise funds for ourselves without even going outside to look for some of these funds to stage these minor events. So I also want to look into the plight of the persons with disabilities. I mean, it is a very good step that the present vice president took. He took it upon himself to engage the office of the vice chancellor and the university management. And under his leadership as the vice president, he was able to ensure the management provides priority cards for persons with disabilities. That is something that is his legacy, and nobody can take that away from him. We have been seeing political propagandists everywhere saying that it is not him, but I think that we have to stop that as university students. If he does something, he did it. Let us give him that. Let us give him these flowers. We should not, ridicule somebody's achievement because of political points. You understand? That is something that he did, but it is not enough. When you look at Faraba, you will understand that persons with disabilities cannot access classes upstairs. Okay? And I went on and asked people around, authorities of course, and they told me that the office of the vice chancellor, together with the university management, is in fact, I'm on TV, is in fact looking at the possibility of dismantling one of the staircases to enable ramps for students on wheelchairs and students with disabilities to access classes upstairs. You understand? I'm not saying that I'm going to do it myself or I'm going to start doing it. I don't have that powers. But I'm telling you that it is already under consideration. The authorities are considering that.
Thank
you
you
understand? So these are some of the things that I intend to bring forward as policies, and then the rest I will focus on administration. Because when you look at the vice president of SoSHA, you will understand that the vice president, your work is majorly on administration. That is to ensure the subposition is sustained, our events are done.
Just in a minute, please. What do you think sets you apart from, Mohammed Sise?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mbai, for that question. But I believe it is important to also say one or two things. It is important that we clarify one or two things before I talk about.
Just in a minute, please.
Yes, I'm going to summarize as much as I can. When it comes to inviting students who are majoring different units to come and speak to students, we have realized when it comes to rebranding the SoSHA week, as I've said, I have 7 to 8 policies that I intend to address once I am elected into office. And from now towards December, I believe all these policies, once I'm elected, I'll be able to achieve them. Because these are policies that achieving them is not going to take me, through a lot of challenges. Because when it comes to inviting people who are studying geography and all that, what we have done as an educational research ministry is to ensure we have 10 committee members. In these 10 committee members, all the units in SoSHA, there is a representative. One. When it comes to rebranding the SoSHA week, what I believe can be done is to ensure, as a policy that I have, is to ensure that we have these course brochures shared to students days before the induction ceremony. That is going to help students to be able to prepare themselves, about the questions that they have. What sets me aside from my opponent is this. It has never happened, fellow socials, in this history of our association.
Thank you.
That it has never happened. I'm now answering your question. That a president and an educational research minister candidate are going on a post. I am from a team which is complete, which is ready to serve the interests of this very association. What set me aside with my opponent is my administrative skills. It's my skills on negotiation. It's my skills on having a good relationship, a good comportment with the lecturers and also the authorities that we have, especially within SoSHA and beyond. This is what makes me the best of candidate for this position. I am not talking about any other position, but for the position of vice president, when it comes to engaging lecturers and authorities in addressing the problem, they are always for students of SoSHA. I have demonstrated this in my capacity as Deputy Education and Research Minister, and I wish to continue this once I'm elected on Thursday as the Vice President of SoSHA.
Thank you so much. I mean, now, Mohammed, just in a minute, what do you think sets you, aside from?
Of course, 1 minute. I'm not going to pass 1 minute. It's unfortunate that, John keeps on repeating the same things, especially when he is forgetful about the fact that I'm also a SoSHA student, and it is SoSHA students that are listening. If you have 10 people from different sub-associations, different fields in SoSHA, then why have we not been having all those individuals trying to explain these course brochures to students? Personally, I've received messages from individuals that are studying some of these fields that do not go home with anything right after that induction. I'm not ridiculing the induction. The induction is very, very, very effective. I'm a council member. I'm smart enough not to tell people that our council is failing with regard to addressing some of these things. But of course, we still have room for improvement. I think that is something that he has to think about again. So when it comes back to what sets me aside from him, is my rationality. I think I am rational as an individual. Because when you asked him, he went ahead and said that their president, under their team, and the education research minister are unopposed. But he's opposed. He's the vice president. I am the vice president. He's opposed. I think that is what is important right now. Their president being unopposed and their education research minister being unopposed. Do not define him. Do not add any value to him. Do not define myself. Do not add any value to myself too. So I think he should focus on himself. He's opposed. Fortunately, or let me say unfortunately for him, he's opposed. He wished he was unopposed too. But now he's opposed. I'm opposed. I think we focus on ourselves rather than telling SoSHA students that for the first time in the history of SoSHA, our president is unopposed, our education research minister is unopposed. These individuals are unopposed because of reasons that we all know. Reasons that I am not in control of, reasons that he's not in control of. When you look at our president, I think you have to give me time because he said I should clarify.
No, you're out of time.
No, he said I should. No, he said I should. He said I should. Let me just do this quickly. Our presidential candidate was disqualified by the Electoral Commission, courtesy of the Judicial Tribunal of the University of the Gambia, because when he was submitting his nomination particulars, in his form was his ID card, his CV, and all other particulars that he should put in his file when he's submitting. But forgetfully, as a human being, he left his nomination form at home or at his workplace. You understand? The EC called once they opened that file and told him that, your nomination form is not here. He asked that the EC give him time to bring back this nomination form, and the EC said, no, we will get back to you as a team, which they never did. We went to appeal the issue at the Judicial Tribunal, and then the courts upheld the decision of the Electoral Commission. So my whole point is, when an individual that has a constitutional right, a fundamental right to be voted for, can be curtailed because he forgot to include in his nomination file, his nomination paper, is something that is unreasonable. When you look at the 2021 presidential elections, Dr. Ismaila Ceesay was disqualified by the Electoral Commission, by the IEC, because he did not have the required nomination signatures for Banjul. When we went to the courts ruled that even if he did not have the required signatures, he should have been given the time to go back and look for that signatures and bring back to the IEC. But the IEC do not have any right whatsoever to curtail his fundamental right to be voted for because he did not fulfill the required nomination signatures. So I am just trying to tell SoSHA students that this is the whole reason behind our disqualification of our presidential candidate. And then taking it outside politics, like now Yusufa not being a politician. Yusufa is a young man that is doing very well for himself, very productive in the Gambia. You understand? So get him out of the political shoes and judge him as an individual. You understand? Yusufa is a very responsible guy, doing very well for himself in the Gambia. So this is the whole circumstances surrounding his expungement or his disqualification by the EC. And now it is entirely left to the SoSHA students to decide whether the expulsion or the disqualification of Yusufa has anything to do with myself or the quality that I possess. It is now left to their rational thinking. I mean, this is something that I don't even discuss a lot because, I mean, I expect all SoSHA students to understand that the disqualifications of the presidential candidate does not define myself. I came into the University of the Gambia before Yusufa, before the presidential candidate. He found me doing things in the UTG. So his disqualification does not define myself. Neither does it define the individuals that are officially approved by the IEC. At the end of the day, the EC does not, in fact, recognize camps. Our camps are just an organization of people that saw the need to come together to get to these political offices. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So finally, John, I mean, just in 1 minute, what is your final message to SoSHA students?
Thank you very much. My final message to fellow SoSHAns outside listening there, I want to inform them once again that I come from a complete team. One, a team that has respect for constitutionalism, a team that has respect for morality, and that is why I have a complete team. In this year's elections, fellow SoSHAns, I urge you all not to vote for a team without a captain, because a ship, as we say, without a captain is a ship that is meant to sink. And also, dare not swim near a drowning man, lest you will drown with him. This is what I have for SoSHAns. Thank you.
I mean, Mohammed, just a minute, please. Of course. I mean, what is your final message to SoSHAns?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that that is his biggest shot. I'm glad. I thought he had some things in store. His biggest shot is to use the disqualification of our presidential candidate, which I just clarified. Bravo. I think that is a very good one. So SoSHA students, we have two responsibilities here. The first responsibility lies on our shoulders as young politicians and as individuals that are seeking public office. And that is to come to you, to tell you what we have been doing, what we are doing, and what we want to do. The second responsibility lies on your shoulders as electorates, and that is to make your rational choice to vote for the candidate of your choice. But I will indulge you to vote for Team Panacea, because one thing that SoSHA students have been consistent in doing is to be voting Team Panacea into office. And then we want you to continue doing the same thing. And then we indulge you again to give us the opportunity and then prevail us the latitude to serve you to the best of our abilities by voting us into office in the 19th Executive Council of SoSHA, so we can continue what we started doing. Come on the 7th elections day, we want you to vote Team Panacea into office, and then we will start from there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, esteemed viewers. Just to cut things short, I mean, this is the end of the policy debate between the two aspiring vice presidential candidates. We have John Jaliba Make from this SoSHA, and of course, we have Mr. Mohammed Lamin Sise from Team Panacea. And thank you, Sise, for pushing the agenda. And then thank you, John, for coming. And it is a pleasure, I mean, having you here. And until then, I wish you good luck, I mean, in your elections. And I hope, I mean, after this, Mohammed and Make remain the same friends as time goes on. So until then, I was your moderator Ibrahim Mbaye. I mean, thank you for joining us. Bye bye.